projects with with pleasure, as they got the opportunity to be inserted in this international scenario, to broaden their businesses and explore new opportunities, to improve their reputation and positioning for strategic international tenders, so to enter new context. And in general, to enlarge their company's vision and improve the skills of their professionals. These slides gives you like our modus operandi, which is like the pattern, the model we tend to when we create partnerships for development projects. So obviously this is the theory, this is a model we would like to tend to. So we have a donor, you see in yellow, which can be the Italian Development Cooperation Agency or the European Union or other public or private bodies. And we'd like to, our goal is to have a local authority as a counterpart. So you see the city of Milan in red, and on the right side of the sheet, our partnership. And then we put on the table, according to the kind of project we are developing, the proper city department, the municipally owned company, so the utility which manages that service. We mobilize the universities who have specific knowledge in that field, and the private sector, and what we would like to have on the other side, so in the partner country, in the partner territory, is let's say the sister level of each of the levels I have I've just told you. Obviously, in the middle we have the donor, as I have already said, and the NGO operating in the partner country, which is fundamental, obviously, because as you may imagine, being a city, we do not have the chance to have an office in a partner country. These are the teams we are working with. I would say that sustainable urban development is the main one, and in this framework we are working on urban food policies a lot, as you may imagine. Also the fact that the focus of Expo 2015 was on food, and all the what the city of Milan has done in this field with the pact. Filippo Gavazzeni has just finished to explain. Represented for us a big guide in let's say in choosing the kind of the themes of our projects. Then Milan has an important history in cooperation in the field of migration and development, hosting lots of diaspora communities in our territory. And what is more, we are working on education to global citizenship, so working in our territory or in Europe in this field. This is one last slide. On the right, you can see the geographical distribution of our interventions. As you can see, most of them, so more than the 60% of the total of what we are of our job, let's say, it's in Africa. We are working in Europe mainly through development, education, and awareness, in the Mediterranean and in Asia. One thing we are very proud of is that the role of the city of Milan, I think, has been greatly reckoned by till now also by the donors. As you can see on the top right side of the slide, at the moment we are managing a total of 40 million euro let's say, as 4 projects, but the city of Milan is putting just the office, let's say, so the 6 people working in the office of the city-to-city cooperation unit. I hope to have been brief and clear, and I think I have to give the floor to Simonetta Paganini from ANCI.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Silvia, and good morning, everybody. I do not have a presentation, but I don't want to add so many things to what I have heard until now, but one of the things I think is important to say is that the pact is a very important instrument to localize Agenda 2030. This gives to the cities participating in this pact the opportunity to focalize on a lot of policies of politics in the cities that can bring to a best way to manage the issue of food in different aspects, health, economics, sustainable in the sense of agriculture aspects and so on. The role of cities, in my opinion, is a crucial one, because the governance of this system is in the hand of the mayors and the councils, and they have a big responsibilities, but they have also the opportunity to know the situation on their territory and to adapt the objective they can reach in their action. So it's a question of priorities, and in the planning of the cities, this priority could be better focalized, and better the administrator have the opportunity to know also their opportunities to act. The situation is different in the different territory, in Africa, Europe, America, and so on. Everybody has his own situation. But what is important is that the pact offer the chance to organize the action to improve good agriculture production, improve the system, the link between the rural context and the urban context. The role in organizing the market is important to allow safety of products, to allow conservation of products, and to avoid the waste of this agriculture production. So it's a very global approach that can only be done at local level. Local level has this opportunity to put together all the stakeholders and give their action a coherence. This is an important aspect. We have the occasion to discuss about coherence of politics in localizing Agenda 2030. And I think that cities are the best place to begin this action, and to because there is the opportunity to know all the stakeholders and discuss with all the stakeholders how to do in order to better manage the use of soil, the distribution of food, the education to a good use of food and against waste of food, the role in the school, as many of the person who have spoken before me have announced, it's important, no? So, and what I can say is, looking at the action in Italy also and abroad, I must say that this international action to better use agricultural production and better use in better management of food has an important effect also in our cities in Italy. And this, if I can say, this international relation opportunity has announced our possibility in our territory to be also to focalize on this issue, not to waste, educate people to a better use of common goods. So this has a good, a very important value for all these general, I can say, issue in international cooperation. It's a really way to act for a co-development and to share with our partners all this experience built in many years of international cooperation, decentralized cooperation. I think.
Sorry, Simonetta, 1 minute more.
Yes, I'm going to finish announcing this role of territorial partnership, because this long-lasting link between partners give us the opportunity to maintain and to give sustainability to these policies. And I think this should be better announced also in our international experience. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and then I will join you in brief time in the headquarters where the work are going. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you very much, Simonetta. We are on delay, so sorry, I'm asking everyone to try to be brief. Otherwise, everyone cannot present. So we leave the floor to CIS, Filippo Acasto from CIS. Filippo, are you with us?
Yes. I hope you can see. He's making a sign.
We can see your presentation.
Okay. So, okay, thanks. Thanks. I want to thanks first of all ACRA and EStà for the confidence in us in our project and for the space today and the time. And good morning, everyone. I'm Filippo Acasto, and I participated to EcoPass project that I'm going to present you as a consultant. We are glad to be here to present you a project in which we were involved for 3 years. EcoPass talks about environment, society, conflict in the suburbs area of Dakar. And we are going to present you the intervention context, the instruments and tool of the project that we used, and some environmental futures in the area to concrete outputs and political outcomes of the project. I want to underline the EcoPass concerned also the food system in this area, including the MUFPP indicators, as we signed a collaboration with EStà that conducts the research on this object. Here you can see some information about Senegal. Just to underline about the urbanization, about the Dakar urbanization suburbs. In fact, when we spoke about rapid urbanization, we think to EcoPass intervention area in the 4 municipalities in Ouagadogou that are located in Dakar north coast, that are almost 10 kilometers from the city center, directly facing to the Atlantic Ocean. This area is densely populated. We talk about 12,000 people per square kilometer on average, because of the proximity to the sea and because it is a natural way out now for Dakar. There is a highway and the coast is still under construction. And until recently, for a position to the ocean's advance, considering that the strong ocean currents are making the coast more farther and farther back towards the populated areas, there was a large green wall called the Filau Strip, which had the task of creating a natural barrier, fixing the sand dunes and fertile soil behind, and consequently creating agricultural activity just behind, as you can see in the picture. The Filau is like a maritime pine, it's a tree that's coming from Australia and Asia and Southeast Asia. It was planted by the Canadian Corporation since 1916. The Filau strip covered all the Senegal north coast from Dakar to Saint Louis, next to the border to Mauritania. In Guédiawaye and Pekin, there are two towns north on the suburbs of Dakar. The urbanization is rapid and not controlled. And this has posed up to now 2 big problems. First of all, the satisfaction of the basic needs essential as housing in land and in water, and for the maintenance of green spaces, and this in spite of the existence of planning documents such as municipal development plans. In the situation I described, we can underline an environmental problem in Dakar suburbs and a conflict caused by a very fast urbanization. This is why CISV proposed to the European Union the project EcoPass, aimed to engage the citizens of Dakar in an environment governance and inclusive to aim to a sustainable growth. EcoPass was implemented in Senegal between April 2018 and April 21. It was a project including the main EU program with civil society organization and local authorities, which aims to strengthen civil society organization contribution to development. This idea is based on 2 fundamental pillars that are mutually reinforcing, as the governance, social inclusiveness, and sustainable growth. In Senegal, particularly in the Dakar region, the EcoPass project aimed at citizens' involvement in an environment governance with the participation of around 2,000 young people, 4,000 women, 200 civil society organizations, 150 microgreen enterprise, and 200 decision makers between elected official technicians from municipalities and official of water and forest. In this context, these different stakeholders have proposed to EcoPass in order to achieve 3 outcomes. The first is to improve internal governance among the protagonists of environmental public decision of the 4 municipalities, which means the civil society organization, local authorities, and technical services. The second, to act with the protagonists of the action, implementing a participatory reforestation, where almost 12,000 of trees were planted in 2 years, and to reinforce the green microbusiness in Dakar suburbs. 130 in total for an economic and structural support action. That is important to remember that the most part of this green micro business, around 70 in total, work just behind or directly inside the green wall. The process began with the identification of civil society organization, 200 at least, coming from the 4 municipalities. The representatives of this organization were supported in a structured dialogue with decision makers and local authorities to raise their concern at the territorial level about the use, management, and access to resources, environmental issues, and their consideration of possible and desirable solutions. The structured dialogue meetings of the different topics that constitute a framework for discussion and reflection, which saw the participation of local authorities represented by project municipal focal points, as well as civil society organizations, technical staff, and consultants in charge of preparing studies, and the project team responsible by the GIS manager. The structured dialogue approach adopted refers to a participatory approach, where one of the purpose of which is the formulation of recommendations. As you can see in the presentation, this scheme made by EStà, we used the structured dialogue. I mean that ECOPAS organized around 120 meetings in order to talk about 5 environmental teams with civil society organization and local authorities, where the participatory mapping that we created is the tool that was used in ECOPAS to help the decision making and the public services. IFAD, the International Fund for Agricultural Development, says that participatory mapping is, in its broadest sense, the creation of maps by local communities, often involving support organizations as government, non-governmental organizations, universities, and other actors engaged in development and land-related planning. With ECOPAS, we had to produce 5 maps that correspond to the 5 central environmental topics in ECOPAS process, as the food system, the water system, the green and white biotechnologies and the application, and flora and land occupation. We will take 2 items student by ECOPAS, the land occupation and the vegetation cover. In the first map, you can see the land occupation features in 1986. If we follow in particular the gray and the green-brown colors, where the gray is the built area and the green and brown are vegetation and agricultural areas. And here we can see in 2018, most part of the space occupied by construction and urban area, while green areas and brown of natural vegetation are considerably reduced. The main elements of the analysis of the mapping you can see here in the presentation. We talks about the evolution of the density of buildings, the increasing of flood zone. A cartographic and statistical analysis showed that a change in a space under the effect of urban pressure and rainfall regression, and under the pressure of demographic growth and the expansion of housing, Dakar is in the long term being wiped off the market garden map of Senegal if measure changing and scenarios that are not taken. Let me show another feature linked to this environmental evolution of Dakar suburbs, that is the vegetation cover. We see here that in 2003, the field house wall was of 165 hectares along the north coast of the 4 municipalities, while in 2019 there remained only 58 hectares, practically I can say 1/3 of their work. This scheme resumes and presents all features that we have seen up to now. As you can see, the item of the land occupation, the population growth and urbanization with the continuing increase of buildings and built area instead of free and green space is influencing several other territorial features, causing the diminishing of vegetation cover, of urban agriculture, and problems about water resources and management, and also flooding and freezing. In the end, yes, I'm going to conclude.
You have 1 minute.
I'm going to conclude. With that, we can say that EcoPass experience, in conclusion, the value of EcoPass project during its life process, the methods and the participation, the outcomes, engagement and policy demonstrate that also a development project can impulse public policies, and this is very important for the future of sustainability of the effects and understand the impact of the action in favor of present and future local communities. The experience of a different way of managing and determining the policies and the choices about what we call common goods, and that the pilot experience in the 4 municipalities can be an example and can be scaled up in a broader region if the institutions are keen about the interest to promote sustainable environment policy. Finally, the process with its difficulties and success, and with the controversial decision like the Filao strip downgrading, demonstrate that the political will and long-term vision of an environmentally sustainable future for all is always conflicting with short-term economic and political interest and benefits, and that this fight is the fight for this and the next decades for the planet, and as you can see, our sons, the outer future. So thanks you for your attention, and I hope to save in time. Thank you.
Hello? Yes. Good morning to all of you. My name is Nicola Pagani. I'm the president of the AFAL NGO, member of Azione TerrAE. As illustrated by Giovanni Sartor during his opening speech, Azione TerrAE was born to promote and accompany the agroecological transition process taking place in the world, with particular attention to the Sahel area, through a joint action of various civil society actors aimed at reviewing international cooperation in one of the most critical areas of the planet, raising awareness among institutions and citizens, mobilizing and optimizing all available resources in support of immediate and effective responses in a systemic and long-term perspective. Regarding the issues brought forward by the Milan Pact that see us gathered here today, it clearly emerges how indispensable joint action by all the forces involved is to cope with the serious crisis affecting the countries of West Africa, in particular the Sahelian area. International cooperation, given the emergency and conflict condition it faces, fails to focus on land and agricultural development as the backbone of change. Although the majority of the population lives in rural areas, as we know, the consequent marginalization of the Sahelian food system thus create the conditions for disconnection of urban markets from the rural system and increases dependence on imports with negative effects on the employment opportunities for young people, on the increase in poverty and in the socioeconomic gap, on the deprivation of rights, and eventually on the growth and spread of conflicts across the region. As clearly highlighted by the Ouagadogou Declaration and the position paper, the role of cities in the governance of food system appears central and essential. Thanks to adequate, oh yes, I'm sorry. International cooperation, given the emergency, as I say, it fails to focus on land agricultural development as the backbone of change. Although the majority of the population lives in rural areas, the consequent marginalization of the Saharan food system creates the condition for disconnection, as I already told, of urban markets from the rural system and increases dependence on imports with negative effects in employment opportunities. As clearly highlighted by Ouagadogou Declaration and the position paper, the role of cities in the governance of food system appears central and essential. Thanks to adequate policies and concrete action, it could cope with many of the critical issues that afflict the African continent, as uncontrolled urbanization, climate change, food waste, poor quality diets, and related micronutrients deficiency, already mentioned several times in previous interventions. In this context of critical issues and intentions, agroecology evidently provides an adequate and systemic response due to its integrated and multi-actors approach. The latter focuses on the following points: distribution and access to primary resources, ecosystemic and territorial approach, the protection of biodiversity and the heritage of traditional seeds and their intellectual property, the recognition of peasant knowledge, the commercial protection of local products and the promotion of local markets, the enhancement of agriculture also in urban and peri-urban areas. Last but not least, the development of research and investments needed to support the ongoing transition. As already mentioned, in November 2020, the Coalition Azione TerrAE launched an appeal addressed to the institution and all the players involved, through which it identified some priority topics: land, seeds, market, services, women and youth. As part of an action such as the one carried out by the Milan Pact, and aimed at affirming and strengthening the role of cities in the governance of food system, these strategic issues all appear to be related and important, even if certainly the market one appear more directly related to the urban context. For this reason, I will focus on this aspect, referring to the full document for an in-depth analysis of the other priority themes. The city represents the main outlet market for agri-food production in rural areas. The strengthening of this relationship, together with the adequate infrastructure investments that facilitate the flow of goods from rural areas to urban consumers, make farm and producers stronger by providing them with adequate livelihood, offering their sons and daughters job opportunities, giving an alternative to migration by promoting resilience, and consequently a reduction of the phenomenon of urbanization, while ensuring adequate protection for rural areas that are not abandoned. Therefore, promoting a true pact of solidarity is necessary. We need an alliance between cities and rural areas, supported by policies that promote proximity consumption while enhancing and protecting local products and making consumer aware of the great power that lies behind the simple action of purchasing in favor of sustainable, supportive, and responsible consumption. In order to achieve this goal, facilitating farmers' access to sustainable and profitable markets in terms of trade is necessary. For this reason, the territorial markets, both rural and urban markets, which act as a bridge between countryside and city, as well as producer and consumer, play a crucial role in food security, biodiversity conservation, and nutrition. At the same time, they are available for information exchange and knowledge on products on food, development of social relation, women involvement. Finally, they are able to leave the added value to farmers and other local economic stakeholders, making all of them less vulnerable to the volatility of global markets. Regarding the issue of markets, Azione TerrAE identify the following lines of action. Qualitative investigation on family-based farms, exploitation familiale, and farmers association. By developing existing tools as the Observatoire en RF and the methodology of markets participatory research implemented by ROPA, to make an example, for policy-making investments, development, and EF capacity building, including higher awareness and knowledge of food value chains. Second, analysis and promotion of the potential for access to national and international markets of agroecological products with high added value for the economy of local communities and vulnerable people. Third, development of direct links between producer and consumers through a variety of initiatives capable of intercepting different targets and needs, such the experience of the CSA, the community supported agriculture, catering system, agroecological and organic fairs, retail marketing networks. Promotion of agreements between producers, associations, and public institutions within the framework of social protection policies for the delivery of meals to school, as already said, nursing homes, prisons, hospitals, including urban mobility plans to facilitate the transport of food to cities and towns. And then support to municipalities in upgrading markets, infrastructure, and services to improve sanitary conditions, reduce environmental impacts, recover and recycle solid and liquid waste. Then, in launching this appeal, the signatory organizations are therefore committed to supporting this process starting from their daily action and projects, strengthening the coordination of interventions and making their resources and knowledge available, which are also the results of a long and faithful experience of collaboration with the whole Italian system of international cooperation. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Nicola. We are half an hour delayed, so I really ask to everyone to be very brief. And now we leave the floor to Marco Grandi from Colomba. Oh, no, scusami.
C'est pas mon tour. Allô?
Oui.
Ah, sur mon programme, c'est moi maintenant. J'ai pas le même programme alors.
Give the floor to Sandrine from CIRAD. Okay. And then Marco.
Ok.
And then Sylvia Steele.
Ok, merci. Oui, il a changé parce que j'ai une.
Yes, Sandrine?
Oui?
Go ahead.
Ah, c'est à moi maintenant?
Yes.
Ah.
Oui.
J'ai pas compris. Il faut que je parle anglais ou bien?
Non, 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 français, ça va.
Et je peux partager mon écran?
Oui.
Ok. Vous voyez mon écran?
Oui.
Ok. D'abord, je voulais vous remercier et exprimer ma frustration. C'est vrai qu'il y a énormément de choses intéressantes qui se disent ce matin et ça va trop vite, quoi. On a envie de parler avec chacun des intervenants, discuter des exemples, des grands principes. Et franchement, je suis très contente d'être invitée. Ce que je voulais dire, c'est que j'ai lu avec attention le document que vous nous avez envoyé sur le Food Green Deal. j'ai beaucoup apprécié l'ensemble des approches. Je pense qu'on a beaucoup de choses en commun entre la façon dont on a d'analyser les systèmes alimentaires et les systèmes alimentaires urbains au CIRAD, et aussi la vision de la gouvernance en particulier. Je pense qu'il y a beaucoup de connexions. J'ai entendu parler beaucoup d'agroécologie, de cantines scolaires, d'infrastructures, de foncier, d'objectifs du développement durable. Ce sont autant de thèmes sur lesquels la recherche travaille, et le CIRAD en particulier. Donc, je vais faire une intervention assez brève pour aussi rappeler un peu nos priorités, nos façons de faire, et puis quelques peut-être compétences spécifiques de la recherche. J'ai vu que vous aviez mis en deuxième dans la stratégie générale les liens avec le monde de la recherche appliquée en sciences sociales, on va dire à la recherche sociale. Et voilà, je pense que c'est bien d'insister sur cette nécessité de bien faire ces liens-là. Donc, il y a un consensus quand même actuellement, c'est que les systèmes alimentaires ont des faibles performances, à la fois sur la santé et la nutrition, avec l'augmentation des maladies non transmissibles comme le diabète, l'obésité, y compris en Afrique, y compris dans les villes africaines, et que ça va s'ajouter à des maladies par carence. On a des faibles performances économiques parce qu'il y a beaucoup de gens qui n'ont pas accès à des systèmes alimentaires sains. Il y a peut-être 3 milliards de personnes dans le monde. Et puis, la distribution de la valeur dans les chaînes de valeur est profondément injuste. On a des problèmes de gouvernance. Il y a quelques très peu nombreux stakeholders, acteurs, qui maîtrisent souvent les chaînes de distribution et de transformation. Et il n'y a pas vraiment de démocratie alimentaire. Peu de gens peuvent participer activement à l'élaboration des priorités politiques en termes alimentaires. Et à ce titre-là, j'ai l'impression que le pacte de Milan est vraiment exemplaire. Tous les exemples que je viens d'entendre sont vraiment très édifiants. Le système alimentaire détruit l'environnement avec des pollutions et la destruction de la biodiversité, des sols, des rivières et des forêts. C'est vraiment une menace pour les capacités de production futures. Et puis, les systèmes alimentaires existants contribuent à 1/3 des émissions de gaz à effet de serre. Et c'est pour ça qu'il y a vraiment absolument urgence de transformer ces systèmes alimentaires. La question, ce n'est pas tellement de dire qu'il faut transformer, mais c'est de dire comment. Et du coup, le pacte de Milan et l'engagement pour les villes africaines proposent des solutions. On vient d'en entendre plusieurs. Nous, en tant que chercheurs, on a aussi...
As researchers, we have a few ideas, and what is more,
au CIRAD, imaginer avec des partenaires, donc toujours en participatif, des solutions institutionnelles, technologiques et politiques. On ne veut pas dire que la recherche est au-dessus des autres acteurs, mais fait avec. Voilà. Donc, c'est vraiment la science est un partenaire parmi d'autres. Et si vous avez le temps, je partagerai ma vidéo, mon PowerPoint. On a fait une petite vidéo pour dire comment on essaye justement de partir de problèmes réels et de trouver, d'imaginer des solutions avec. On a une méthodologie qui s'appelle Impress, qui est résumée dans ce petit film que je vous partagerai. On a aussi beaucoup d'intérêt à travailler avec les politiques. Et je pense que la reine qu'on vient d'écouter, d'intervention des maires, il y a au niveau locaux, mais au niveau nationaux et internationaux. On s'engage actuellement beaucoup, par exemple, sur le sommet des Nations Unies sur les systèmes alimentaires. Et on s'est beaucoup engagé aussi au sein du HLPE, le High Level Panel of Experts, qui était auprès du comité à la sécurité alimentaire à Rome. On a une vie de chercheurs engagés et avec les politiques et avec les acteurs sur le terrain. J'ai un exemple d'action et de projet très particulier qui s'appelle le projet Urbal, qui est très spécifique aux innovations urbaines en faveur du développement durable de l'alimentation. Donc, c'est un projet qui a lieu dans 9 pays. Et on a, avec les municipalités, avec les ONG, les acteurs locaux, identifié et suivi des innovations qui aident à l'amélioration des systèmes alimentaires dans ces multiples dimensions sociales, politiques, environnementales et nutritionnelles. Et le but de la recherche ici, c'est de documenter, de suivre l'évolution de ces projets, comprendre pourquoi certains marchent, comment ils marchent et voir quels sont leurs impacts et la possibilité de les rendre plus vastes. Donc, voilà. En Afrique, on a fait un projet en particulier à Rabat autour des systèmes de garantie participatifs pour garantir la qualité des produits. Et puis, on a un projet aussi qui est suivi au Cap, en Afrique du Sud, sur la stratégie de sécurité alimentaire et nutritionnelle des ménages. Au CIRAD aussi, on travaille beaucoup sur la gouvernance territoriale. Et là, je fais un petit peu de publicité pour un événement qui a lieu après-demain, le 23, et sur la gouvernance territoriale pour les systèmes alimentaires durables. Donc, on essaye de pousser au maximum, que ce soit au niveau rural ou au niveau urbain, ou justement sur la connexion entre monde rural et monde urbain. On essaye de soutenir ce que vous soutenez dans le pacte 2011, c'est-à-dire une bonne connexion entre tous les acteurs sur un territoire. C'est vraiment très important pour le CIRAD, c'est une de nos 6 priorités stratégiques. Voilà. Ensuite, les chercheurs, évidemment, ils ont leur compétence propre, qui est d'analyser, d'essayer de comprendre et de regarder ce qui se passe et de montrer ce qui n'est pas forcément visible pour tout un chacun et d'une certaine façon, donc scientifique. Et ici, on a des experts des filières d'approvisionnement des villes, des économistes, en particulier ma collègue Paul Moustier, qui, avec un ensemble de collègues, de partenaires donc, du Burkina, du Vietnam et du Chili, viennent de produire un texte qui, à mon avis, est vraiment très intéressant et qui parle des caractéristiques des systèmes alimentaires urbains et qui essaye d'aller, donc, qui caractérise vraiment ces systèmes alimentaires et qui propose un schéma, une vision de ces systèmes, donc avec ces différents drivers, ces différents outcomes en bon français, les résultats donc dans les différentes dimensions des systèmes alimentaires, et qui propose une typologie en fait des systèmes alimentaires qui est un peu nouvelle, parce que souvent on oppose les systèmes traditionnels avec les systèmes modernes, parfois on dit des systèmes mixtes. Là, il y a une typologie qui est vraiment très argumentée, avec des systèmes qui sont donc, de subsistance, qui sont courts, qui sont longs, qui sont orientés vers qui sont orientés par des petites entreprises, par des supermarchés, voire par de la technologie. Et pour chacun de ces systèmes, donc mes collègues proposent des recommandations pour intervenir de façon très, très concrète. Voilà, je vous remercie. Et si vous avez besoin de plus d'interaction, vous pouvez me contacter.
Merci Sandrine. Now we leave the floor to Francesco Rampa.
Give the floor to Francesco Rampa, who is qui est le responsable des négociations.
Because we are a bit on delay, and so the seminar will take half an hour more. We thank all the participants for your attention.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here, and apologies, I need to intervene now because I have another meeting at 1, but I just wanted to thank the organizer and all the very interesting presentation. The Prime Minister's office and the Sherpa office is responsible indeed to also connect a number of topics that the G20 is working on. And the presidency of Italy this year has put under the sustainable development work of the G20 as only one of the 2 priorities, the role of local authorities for implementation of the SDGs. So the development working group I represent of the G20 has been discussing already for a few months the usefulness and the possibility of focusing the political attention and leadership of G20 countries on intermediary cities. A lot of the networks already exist and are obviously doing a lot of great work, but it is important, and a lot of them are about big cities or the capitals. So it would be important that the international debate and the community, including the G20, have a way to regularly every year look at best practices, lesson sharing like you're doing on what is happening at the level of city-to-city partnerships for the SDGs. And so we are planning to launch a platform that should be then co-facilitated by the OECD and UN Habitat, given the work they do, of course, and should be inclusive of all the partners and the players, with, of course, local authorities, in particular in Africa, at the forefront. This platform is not an institution, and it's just, if you want, a network of networks to take the work that you are doing, ICLEI is doing, the Milan Food Policy Pact has been doing, and try to elevate the lessons and make sure that the G20, being large countries, often large donors, large decision makers, can hear what's working. So in particular, of course, the platform and many of the countries of the G20 have clearly in their minds that food systems and food security is very central. So intermediaries not only are part of a new development model, if you want, that makes citizens closer to decision makers, that take into account that we cannot all go and live in the big cities. We need to change, if you want, the size of the attention of urban planning. So that's a very strong political message. We want the leaders of the heads of state of the G20 to mention clearly in their declaration, but also the setting up of a platform that has some thematic priorities and helps the network find new resources, write policy papers, create a regular way of policy dialogue so that the good regulations that we have heard from Ouagadogou or Milan or Antananarivo like today become written down also in a sort of a policy compendium, and we hope that the G20 leadership can then facilitate in dialogue with local authorities the implementation of some of these improvements at the policy or regulatory level. The thematic focus is too early to be clear about it. It should be a discussion amongst all of those who will join the platform of the G20 on intermediary cities, but it is clear that food systems are at the center of the SDGs. So all of the information we are hearing today, all of the work you already do in the Milan Food Policy Pact in itself is a very strong building block, we hope, of this G20 engagement, because food systems are crucial for all of the economic, social and environmental aspects, as you have all mentioned, and in particular for the reaction also to the COVID. Clearly, COVID is the political issue this year, potentially together with climate because of the COP26, but very clearly a One Health approach, the possibility of using more sustainable food system and more resilient local territories that can produce their own food has been important for COVID reaction and will be so even more in the future. So I just wanted to express here, again, thanking you for all the information and lesson sharing and opening a door for all of the work you're doing and EStà and others have presented to keep in touch. Depending on the results of this G20 platform, we're also preparing some high-level principles to be included in the living document called the compendium on all this best sharing and lesson sharing can be benefiting from your work, and who knows, maybe your network and your partners should also become a member of this umbrella that wants to be a network of networks. So thank you again, and apologies, I need to leave soon, but very, very happy to Andrea Calori and others to remain in touch and keep working together.
Thank you very much, Francesco. And now we leave the floor to Maddalena, who is from the office number 6 from ICE.
Okay. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, I wanted to thank you for this invitation. Allora, I am Maddalena Piedda, an official of the Italian Agency for Development Cooperation, AICS. Allora, the AICS, Italian Agency for Development Cooperation, was born with the Cooperation Reform Law 125 of 2014, and starting operating in 2016 with the ambition of aligning Italy with the main European and international partners in the commitments for the development. The agency has its headquarters in Rome, 1 office in Florence, and 19 offices abroad, and is made up of 11 offices. Specifically, the thematic office to which I belong is Office 6, which deals with rural development and food security. The office proposes, identifies, formulates, manages, and monitors programs relating to integrated rural development.
Du développement local à niveau agricole. Mon bureau participe à
and international level. The activities are spread over 2 thematic areas. The first, rural development, concerns agricultural development initiatives and the rural territory through the support of institutional and communities interested in the management and enhancement of natural resources, water, soil, climate, biodiversity. We promote strategies for environmental and economic resilience, recognizing the key role of the private sector and the civil society. Great attention is paid on the economic integration of small producers and on the issues of empowerment of women, young people, and minorities, strengthening the supply chain and agri-food systems, transforming the production system.
En transformant les systèmes de production. Le but est d'adopter un modèle agricole.
And practices of sustainable cultivation. The second thematic area, nutritional and food security, addresses issues related to the qualitative improvement of food production for the purpose of a correct and healthy nutrition on the populations, with particular attention to new knowledge and technologies, the evolution of production practices, eating habits, and market demands. Office 6 shows interest in addressing issues related to the rural-urban nexus in agriculture. The presence of the agriculture issue in urban context is evidenced by various sectorial initiatives. Aside the Socialives program funded under the EU Desire initiative in Burkina Faso and Nigeria for the reintroduction, for example, of local crops with greater resistance to climate change. Among the initiatives funded by AICS, which address issues related to urban agriculture, I would like to mention 4. 2 of these initiatives are the responsibility of Office 7, subject of cooperation, partnership, and finance for development. The first initiative, AID 011455, innovating social enterprises and participation of migrants for inclusion in Burkina Faso, is in its 3rd year and is close to closing in August 2021. The activities up to now have been carried out regularly with the participation of all the partners involved. The problems are mainly due to the situation of insecurity and the ongoing pandemic. The project involves the marketing of an ethical line of Burkinabe products of the Ouagadogou market carried out through a social enterprise and promoting good, sustainable urban food system practices. During this year, the 4th Forum of the Signatory Cities of Milan Urban Food Policy Pact was organized in Burkina Faso. The other project, AD 011451, always under the responsibility of Office 7, is milk and honey to supply chains with high tied to value as a response of food and economic insecurity in rural and urban areas in Niger. This project is also in its third year, and the closure is scheduled for November 2021. In addition to the insecurity in the intervention area, the situation linked to the COVID-19 pandemic also had to be addressed in this context. The project supports a distribution and trade system promoted by local institutions and structured for the procurement of healthy, quality products coming from fair and sustainable local supply chains between the urban areas of Niamey and the rural departments of Say and Tillabéri and Niger. The organization of breeders and beekeepers are structured and strengthened at the technical, organizational, and monitoring level. The latter refers to the sustainability of the supply chains with a focus on the dignity of work, female empowerment, and inclusion of young people. The activities include awareness raising, training, technical support to local institutions for the development of policies and the urban food system, thanks to the management and healthiness of the market and the activation of concrete action. The third initiative, ID 11762, Inclusive Urban Gardens for Food Security in the city of N'Djamena in Chad, is the responsibility of the Khartoum office in Sudan. The purpose of the initiative was to reduce the vulnerability on food insecurity on the population on the move and host communities of N'Djamena by intensifying fruit and vegetable production and revenues and accompanying the launch of income generating activities. The activities include the technical and institutional strengthening of existing urban horticulture association, awareness and support on the integration of the refugees, of the displaced and returning migrant population within these associations, training of producers in innovative agronomic and agroecological techniques for the fruit and vegetable production of species with high nutritional value, production of seeds and local varieties, provision of improved means and agricultural production adapted to the context, support for the management of production areas and maintenance of common resources, nutritional awareness campaign, strengthening the skill of local authorities through capitalization and exchange of good institutional practices and participation of the Milan Urban Food Policies Pact 2020 Forum. Accompaniment, support, and monitoring in the startup of agri-food and common generating activities. Establishment of 3 nurseries of the production for the production of horticulture and fruit breeding species and the 3 drying and agri-food processing units. Finally, I would like to highlight an initiative under the responsibility of 6, urban agriculture to improve food security in the informal settlements of Maputo. The aim is that of contributing to the improvement of food and nutritional security of families in the city of Maputo. This intervention aims to strengthen sustainable agroecological urban agriculture and breeding activities in the peri-urban areas of the green zones of Maputo and in the urban area of municipal district of Kalamankulu, through the promotion of training activities in the area of agriculture, support to local production of infrastructure. The initiative also intends to strengthen local governance by supporting the definition on an urban agriculture plan integrated within the local institution framework for support and training activities for the specialized personnel of the municipality of Maputo. Particular attention will be given to the resilience abilities of young people, women, unemployed, and people with disabilities, also to face the challenges posed by the secondary effects of COVID-19 pandemic. From the initiatives I have just presented, it is clear that the agency has an interest in issues relating to urban agriculture and agroecology in general. We will evaluate any potential synergies that can be created. In any case, for any kind of information, it is possible to contact the Office 6 directly. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we leave the floor to Cecilia Marocchino, who is the Urban Food Agenda Coordinator of Urban Food System and Green Cities Initiative in African Cities, and from FAO. Thanks, Cecilia.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, thank you for sharing the screen. So I will try to be brief. I would like to start really thanking the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact for inviting FAO to this meeting. And I really welcome the focus on African cities and on the importance of this strategic alliance among African cities. So building alliance, joint efforts at regional level is actually a fundamental strategy, as it was said before, to make a real change and accelerate the implementation and the localization of the 2030 agenda. So let me start highlighting that there is a global consensus that advancing on the agenda on the food system transformation require an active engagement of cities. It is highlighted in the Ouagadogou Declaration, in the shared position paper, and so please, yeah. And we are more and more recognizing that cities of different typologies have an enormous potential when it comes to food system. So cities are emerging as a key entry point. So why? We have to consider that, I mean, overall, over half of the global population currently resides in urban area. And then I want to highlight that according to FAO, about 70% of food supply is consumed by inhabitants in area classified as urban. As of course, this is expected to increase alongside with the urbanization. And many urban and peri-urban communities are exposed to food and nutrition insecurity, combined with an increasing rate of overweight and obesity, which has particularly high in urban settling. And this, of course, is a key, all these challenges are fundamental challenges for African cities, where the world's fastest growing population is happening. And African cities represent actually the major opportunity to promote urban food system as a key component of the overall food system transformation. Next, please. What opportunity do we have? At the global level, I want just to mention the Food System Summit as a great opportunity to elevate the voice of local government. And I want to refer to an initiative facilitated by FAO and the Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition to ensure that the voice of cities get amplified at the Food System Summit. So in 2020, FAO and GAIN led the establishment of the Urban Food System Working Group, which is an informal interagency group which currently include 25 organizations. We are glad to have the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact as part of the informal of this Urban Food System Working Group. And so this group has been very active in promoting the voice of the local government, of cities and local government within the summit. In promoting, we have facilitated 17 dialogue in African cities, among many other dialogue related on urban food system. So we have championed within the Food System Summit process, coming also from African cities. And we have organized a global event recently at the end of June, a global summit dialogue co-convened with Dr. Agnes Kalibata. And cities are clearly recognized an important constituency within the summit process, and the session on urban food system co-led with the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact will be part of the main agenda of the pre-summit event. Next, please. So when it comes to FAO, I mean, in terms of, it's a long time that actually FAO is working with cities, but recently we are approaching the work with the cities in a more corporative way. So we are also view urban areas as an important pole for integrating local food system and leverage their potential for employment creation, poverty reduction, and sustainable resource use. I want to highlight when we refer to cities, FAO is very keen to consider not only big cities, as it was mentioned before, but also giving space to small and intermediary cities. We work together with various partners on the urban food agenda and on the recently launched Green Cities Initiative, with the aim of increasing people well-being through a better availability of product and services provided by sustainable food system and green spaces, which include basically urban food system, urban agriculture, and urban and peri-urban forestry. So next, please. Just to refer quickly what is our work on the ground. In African cities, we are present in different countries, and usually local stakeholders are prioritizing different entry points to start integrating food system in their policy, planning, and action. Some examples of the entry point were already mentioned during this discussion: urban agriculture, food retail environment, including even territorial market that were mentioned before, and all the food outlet, not forgetting the street food vendors and informal and formal retail outlet. And then, I mean, also an important entry point on food waste management, and food reduction and food waste management. And we always facilitate also the exchange among cities. And I want to refer to a recent exchange, and we work together with Milan municipality, with ACRA, and with the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact for an exchange, for promoting an exchange on food waste reduction and management between the city of Kigali, the city of Nairobi, and the city of Milan. In all the project, FAO is supporting, is not only working on these entry points that are all fundamental and are all good and decided at the local level, but what FAO is doing is also supporting cities and local government in creating the enabling environment, in understanding what are the food system gaps through analysis of the food system at urban level, and also supporting cities in establishing food governance mechanism. Governance is at the center. We heard today also mentioned many times, and even FAO with the partners is supporting cities in establishing multi-stakeholder food governance mechanism like food liaison advisory group, food council, and developing and also in supporting cities in developing holistic food strategy and action plan, shifting from a sectorial approach to a more systemic one. So starting from an easy entry point that is decided at the local level, urban agriculture, waste management, market, and whatever, but supporting cities in moving from the entry point to a more systemic and holistic planning. So next, please. So I want to mention also that we have started working urban foods, as I mentioned before, on the Green Cities Initiative launched in 2019. And urban food system, as I mentioned, is at the center of the Green Cities Initiative together with the green spaces. In June 2020, First, we launched the Green Cities Regional Program for Africa. We, FAO is initiating the implementation of the green cities starting from Africa as a first step for integrating the work of urban food system with the green spaces involving a number of African cities. So combining this entry point, green spaces and urban food system in an integrated manner makes this initiative, let's say, unique, adding to the urban food system agenda. We have started the implementation in few cities, Cape Verde, Nairobi and Kisumu, Antananarivo, Kilimani, Kigali, but the aim is to scale up the Green Cities Initiative and the X-Action program with support of all the partners. Again, creating alliance among cities is definitely a way to scale up the FAO work on on the Green Cities Initiative and the Urban Food Agenda. Therefore, let me conclude that FAO will be happy to continue the discussion and the promoting strategic alliance in all the region, including African region. And of course, the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact and all the partners, if we work together and we join efforts, this will be the better way, the best way to localize the Agenda 2030 and together accelerate the overall food system transformation. Thank you very much. Over.
Thank you very much, Cecilia. We still have 3 presentations left, so I'm asking the speakers to stay within 5 minutes, otherwise we are very on delay. So we leave the floor to Cristina Toscano from Caripro Foundation. Cristina, we cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you very much. So I was saying, I really thank you, all the constituencies that have joined this event, for the invitation. I do work within the small development cooperation unit at Fondazione Caripro, but here I do represent our colleagues from Compagnia di San Paolo Foundation and also our national association of former banking foundation, which is called ACRA. Why we are all together here represented by myself, because as foundation we really try to operate in development cooperation as a network, even among ourselves. We are grant making foundations, and our main role even in development cooperation has always been to be catalyzer and facilitators of processes that could be implemented in African countries, and fostering a partnership between public and private organizations and local communities and authorities, focusing on the most vulnerable targets like youth and women, and trying to push organizations, civil society, and public to look at also innovative solutions and responses to the challenges at local level. My colleague Laura, representing another initiative led by foundation, but at the European level, initiative that is called JAFOA, will then integrate my small and rapid intervention. Since 2008, as foundation, Italian foundation, we do work together. We are known as Fondazione for Africa, Foundation for Africa, an alliance of more than 20 foundations at the end of the second initiative that join us to support country programs. We have always been open to discuss and create synergies with all the actors at the national, international, and local level. Food sovereignty and sustainable food systems, I can say, have always been also our framework of reference, because we could address development challenges through the eye of smallholder agriculture, smallholder farmers and farmer organizations, and then work on fostering value chains all along the touch points of the chain, and also having an eye on the relation between city and rural areas. We really think that the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact is a great opportunity to foster a systemic approach to this team. As Fondazione Cariplo, we are there since the beginning, since 2015, supporting the coordination of the Milan food policy, and also supporting the pact. But as Italian foundation, we are interested into the framework to see if future initiative can somehow be linked and reinforce this space of cooperation. So multi-stakeholder is one of the words that we have been practicing, and also because we can count on the possibility we have to risk a bit. We also try to invest in social entrepreneurship in agriculture. And we also were among the first who really day by day tried to put at the center of the process also the diaspora organizations in co-development initiatives. We've been working in Senegal, Northern Uganda, Burkina Faso. And we will see in the future what we will be able to support in terms of localizing of Agenda 2030. I do finish mentioning the fact that we have also a particular project on technology, which is called Innovation for Development, project led by Compagnia di San Paolo and Cariplo Foundation, that also tries to create an enabling environment for the innovation community and the civil society working in the Agenda 2030 to leverage also on technology, that it is a technology based on the user experience and based on local knowledge, and encouraging collaboration between universities or local innovators, startups with civil society and individuals. I really am happy to give the floor now to Laurent, that can add a bit on another level that we managed to join as Italian foundation. Cariplo and Compagnia di San Paolo are part of this alliance and this project, which is called Già Forward. Thanks, Laurent, for for your intervention.
Thanks, Christina. Hello, everybody. Well, in a very few words, just to illustrate also what Christina has developed, JAFOA, Joint Action for Farmers Organization in West Africa, is an initiative of 4 foundations, Fondazione Carito, Fondazione Compagnia di San Paolo, Fondation de France in France, and the Foundation for Just Society in USA. And then it's a specific initiative in the sense that we are directly supporting farmers' organization from Burkina Faso and Senegal. And these farmers' organizations, which are engaged in the agroecological transition, can also are proposing their own partnership. I mean, they can be partners with local NGOs, international NGOs, local authorities, research centers, state technical services, for example. Well, we are intervening at a modest scale. I mean, we since 2016 now we have supporting 16 projects and 8 are still ongoing, and on which at least half of them are working on issues like urban and peri-urban agroecology. So and that's also the interest of JAFOA, of course, to participate to this kind of exchanges, because it's a way for us to identify other strategies, to identify other actors on these territories, and then to offer opportunities to the farmers' organization we are supporting to join a more global reflection and to contribute to a more collective action. For example, today we have spoke about the community of communes of Ouagadogou. It's very interesting. Also in Senegal about the Filao Street, on which we have also supporting some actions. So it's interesting for us, and this afternoon also will be interesting to identify and to propose to the farmers' organization we are working with to join more global reflection. Thanks a lot. And if you have any question, of course, you can contact us through our website or whatever. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot. And now we'll give the floor to Marco Grandi from Colomba.
Hello. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I don't have presentation to propose. It's just a little speech about the pleasure to be there, to participate to this food Green Deal in African cities. The title of the conference really very suggestive for me. I am Marco Grandi. I am a member of the political secretariat of Colomba, Cooperation Lombard. Colomba is the association of cooperation and voluntary NGOs of the Lombardy. Is active since 2007 and bring together 42 organizations of cooperation and humanitarian aids in the region of Lombardy. Many NGO members of Colomba are since many times active in a program of urban and peri-urban agriculture in areas of different cities. And among these, also they are the promoters and organizers of this event. And therefore, as Colomba, we can only share the objective and the proposal to build up an alliance to support the principles and indication contained in Ouagadogou Declaration. Colomba recently promoted a communication campaign entitled, "What world would it be without international cooperation?" The campaign is having a good following, The aim is to draw the public's attention to the importance and the more and more evident necessity of international cooperation. Today, just to say with Pope Francisco, no one is saved alone. Just one remark, even today, the 13% of world's population lives on less than $1.90 a day, a percentage which corresponds in absolute values to 902 million of people. This data continue to indicate the picture of an inequality between the north and the south of the world. This imbalance brings with it wars, violence, and economic and social crises that have repercussions on all countries. So we affirm again with the campaign that international cooperation is the important lever to rebalance the scenario. I know well city-to-city cooperation, and also I can really appreciate the work developed by Comune di Milano in growing up the Milan urban food policy systems, work really considerable. I was able to witness the birth of the pact because at that time I was still in service in the field of international cooperation in the municipality of Milan. I therefore also participated in the Dakar Regional Forum in 2016. I want to immediately thank the African cities that joined the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact for the excellent work done in those years. I visited some of these cities at the beginning, and I was able to see the actual difficulties in maintaining the commitment with the pact. But in every town, I found a group city with really, really big willing to participate and to be in. So we really done many kilometers of street, beginning in 2002 with this project with the municipality of Dakar, municipality of Milano, FAO and ACRA, which was the micro garden Dakar projects. One of the most historic experiment of urban and peri-urban agriculture in a capital of Africa. And so I am proud to see now that we arrive at the Ouaga Declaration. And it seems more than positive. The pact hold-ups and the commitment of African cities is solid. So now at this table, you have all the possible partners and many tools are given also from the effort of university and research to do the best. And I really think that from this conference, something very positive come out. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to Marco, and thanks a lot to all the speakers of this morning, and to the translator for the big effort done. We have talked about many things, of course, issues, results, tools, cities, cooperation, modus operandi, manifesto, position paper. In the afternoon, we'll try to have the most challenging and I hope interesting part of our seminar, trying to put in reality the idea that stay behind the position paper, to create an alliance to give a concrete possibility to a food Green Deal in African cities. We will have a workshop of 1.5 hours. It will start at 2:30, and it will be facilitated to give the possibility to all the participants to give their contribution on how this alliance could work. Thank you very much. Thanks again to all the speakers and to the translator. We will see at 2:30 after the food break. Thanks.